Welcome to Shamanism 115A. We're talking about energy healing. Energy can be called many different things. Chi, ki, prana, force, life force, and it's all around us. More and more people are discovering or perhaps remembering how to channel energy from the air. There's electricity in trees. Energy is everywhere. I've seen people make earth batteries where they channel the electricity, the energy in the soil, for example. And all living entities, birds, flowers, trees, the soil, the air, and even us people are manifestations of energy. We're living in a world of energy, and we can tap on the various energy healing modalities to heal ourselves and others. Health is not the absence of dis-ease. Health is the presence of ease. So rather than using a negation to define what health is, let's focus on the ease and the flow where we are being true to ourselves. And therefore, healing isn't removing the ill. Healing is bringing you truth, bringing you the illumination to the next step on your journey. Then the work of walking your path is always yours. So let's walk together for a while. Let's walk each other home. This is the way of becoming whole. And of course, the final stage of healing is using what happened to you to help others. That's a quote from Gloria Steinem. So let's talk about healing modalities, and as you're going to see now, there's a whole bunch of them, and this list is not exhaustive. There's a lot more types of healing that we can work with. Reiki is one of them. I myself have completed the first 2 levels of Reiki. Reiki uses universal life energy through symbols. Then we have, for example, yoga, which works with the physical energy that we have. We have quantum healing. We can work with crystals. We can do shamanic work, pranic healing. We can work with sound, which is another vibrational energy to work with. There's so many things, and I don't really mind which modality you choose to work with. The foundational principle that is the same is that we're working with energy, not against it. Oh, there's more. Theta healing, acupressure, and access bars as well. Access bars is amazing. If you haven't experienced it yet, I thoroughly recommend that you give it a try. So, energy is the foundation of everything. Energy is in matter, water, air, and fire. In the field of science, we have proven now that all materials in the physical world are, at the most fundamental level, manifestations of energy in various forms. Everything in the universe is made of energy that vibrates at different frequencies. Solid objects are made out of vibrational energy fields at their quantum level. Everything has a distinct energy field. And healing isn't necessarily about becoming your best version. Healing is about letting the worst parts of yourself be loved. Our wounds are the means through which we enter the hearts of other people. They're meant to teach us how to become more compassionate and wise. And maybe you don't need to try so hard to fix yourself. Maybe healing is about learning how to create yourself. Here's a quote from Dr. Oz. The next big frontier in medicine is energy medicine. To heal something means that we have to make tough decisions about what to cut off, what to amputate, and what to release. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, understanding why and how, so that we can befriend the demon and show it love. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, focus on what's right and keep adding more rightness. And this is traditional energy healing. So for example, if somebody has a broken leg, rather than focusing on what's broken, with energy healing we focus on the leg being healed. Now discernment has to be important here, and the discernment is really about understanding what to keep and what to release. And of course, things need to be released, and the most basic forms of that is, the pee, the poop, and the puke. So in quantum physics, in Chinese medicine, and in many other spiritual traditions, we recognize energy fields. Even though we might use different language and different terms, we are speaking of the same things. This is the very foundation of shamanism, animism, and we're referring to this understanding that everything is animated through spirit, vibration, God, the divine or the quantum field. From the spiritual perspective, we call this energy spirit. In traditional Chinese medicine, we call it qi. In yoga, we call it prana. Some might call it electricity or even the electromagnetic field. Some call it force, and psychologists call it thought or consciousness. Energy healing works with all these traditions to transform and improve the flow of energy in a person, in ourselves, an animal, or even in a space. We're working with the polarities and finding a way to balance these polarities. So when does healing begin? Healing starts in the mind. The moment we're able to conceptualize the possibility that we could get better, and I'm doing air quotes now, better, or that we could flow more, or that we could find ourselves in a greater state of ease. Or even sometimes healing begins in the moment when we realize that the situation we're in, the state that we're in, is not okay. So for example, if you grew up and everybody around you is drinking alcohol and it's the normal thing to do, this is just an example. And so you start drinking alcohol, and then maybe you meet somebody who doesn't drink alcohol, and you think, wow, it's possible not to drink. And then you realize that actually you don't feel so good when you drink alcohol, and so you stop. That could be an example, right? But we need some kind of catalyst, something to show us that there's another way. So healing isn't just about learning to love yourself. It's not that simple. Healing means that we're able to go back to the places and moments when you stopped loving yourself and remembering why. Healing means that we recover those parts of us that we've cut off. We hold them close and we rescue them from that pain and that hurt. Healing means remembering, and that can be really hard. When we can hold that hurt part close to our hearts, we become brave and courageous. Now, parts of healing also have to be physical. We have to change the way we live and adapt so that our body can generate a stronger current of energy. So a few things here that I've thought of, and there might be more. Again, I'm not exhaustive in my lists. I'm just putting together what comes to my mind. So feel free to add to this list what needs to for yourself. So first, the gut. And it's not just people who have symptoms that need to think about their guts, because poor gut health is now, in the world we live in, silently affecting most of us, and it can affect the health of our entire body and so our energy. The lining of our guts acts as a barrier between our body and the outside world. Even though it's on the inside, it is the connection point between what we eat and the cells that we're creating out of that food. We need to have good bacteria and good food in the gut. And over time, stress, antibiotics, junk food, blah, 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 the good bacteria can die off, and then the lining of our guts become damaged. If we have inflammation in the gut, it doesn't just affect our gut, it affects all of our organs. It can create chronic pain, headaches, skin problems, aggravate PMS, create anxiety and depression. And if we have inflammation in our gut, it can make it really hard to lose weight. So the best place to start if you have gut issues is to heal the gut. And there's many ways to do this, and there's more material about this coming up in the spiral. Herbs, vitamins, probiotics, healthy food, for example. We also need to be really mindful of our liver, because poor liver function can create toxicity in our bodies, which is also linked to anxiety and depression, hormonal imbalances, low libido, menstrual issues, migraines, thyroid, and more. The liver's main job is to clear toxins from the body, like chemicals, pesticides, medications, alcohol, but the liver has many other functions. The liver is a super important organ. It produces bile, it stores vitamins, it activates immune cells, it metabolizes hormones, and it helps control our blood sugar. When the liver becomes overwhelmed by toxins, it cannot carry out the essential functions. So your immune system doesn't work, your hormones get out of whack, and your neurotransmitters suffer. So cleaning the liver every day by eating lots of fruits and vegetables, having a lot of fiber in your diet, and drinking a lot of water. You can also use some herbs like milk, thistle, and dandelion. Another 2 simple habits that you can add to your daily life is drinking drinking a mug of hot water with lemon and ginger in the morning or between your meals. And you can start a meal with a small salad with bitter greens like arugula, radicchio, mustard greens, or dandelion greens. We also want to work on our adrenals. Whether or not you've had trauma in your past, the adrenal glands and the nervous system could be responding as if you have had it. Simple things can be traumatic. Big things can be traumatic. It can be things like having been bullied, having financial stress, seeing your parents fight a lot, or just being alive in this world that is not always the nicest place to be, right? So all these things can create issues in our nervous system and prevent us from getting into the parasympathetic nervous system, which the body needs on a regular basis. All of this is taxing. So we can look at things like the ACEs, our adverse childhood experiences, that look at, stresses during childhood, which increase our risk for many chronic diseases. So we can really work on strengthening our adrenal glands with nutrients like the B vitamins, vitamin C, and zinc. We can also use other homeopathic remedies and do breath work, emotional release, for example. The adrenal glands get depleted by stress and sugar and starchy foods. So a quick way to strengthen the adrenals is to eliminate sweets, processed foods, and sugar from our diet. Fruit is fine. And another simple strategy is taking 5 deep breaths 5 times a day. You can do that, on the hour, every hour for 5 hours or whatever you feel. Another thing, of course, is to work with our emotions and our emotional intelligence, because our body stores emotions in the reptilian brain or the limbic system. So even when you take all these supplements and herbs to heal your body, if the root cause is still not healed, it's kind of locked there in the nervous system. We also, of course, have to work with our relationships. So I've used the word family entanglements here, but, they don't have to be blood relatives in order for them to be relationships that need to heal. So we have to look at our interactions with others when we do any type of healing. We cannot just heal ourselves. It's like if your plant isn't growing well, it might not just be the soil. It might need to move to a different part of your house or need more sun or less sun or whatever, right? So we have to look at the relationships we have in our family, and also beyond the family that is alive now. We might need to go back into our ancestral lines. This can be especially important if you feel like, you've done everything, but there's still emotional stuff that comes up. Maybe you're getting triggered. So when these patterns are the same all the time, and they're difficult to explain, we need to go deeper in. So this is where things like parts work and soul retrieval and ancestral healing can come into play. This is a slide to show you the difference between the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system, so that you get a clear illustration of what's going on. So parasympathetic nervous system, we want to get into that several times a day, and definitely when we're sleeping. And the sympathetic nervous system is this kind of fight or flight mode, which, we get into that several times during the day because the world is a stressful place. But we need to, and you guys know how little I want to use the word need, but this is an appropriate time to use the word need. We need to come into our parasympathetic nervous system as often as possible. That might mean that if you know you have a busy day and you got lots of stuff going on, that you take a little micro nap, lay down. You don't have to fall asleep, but just lay down, relax your body, and take a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, just to settle in and get into the parasympathetic nervous system, so that you don't keep staying with your adrenals and your cortisol running on high. So it's important, because as we heal ourselves, we're healing the collective. The human organism is a microcosm of the macrocosm. We hold all of the aspects of the universe within our bodies, and we interact with all aspects of the universe. The human energy field, the individual human energy field, has the capacity to hold information from all other realms in the universe. And I'm sure you've heard of the Akashic records. Akash is a Sanskrit word that means sky or ether. And people refer to it as the Book of Life or the Universal Library. There's many terms. The Akashic records are a vast energetic archive that contains information about every soul, every event, every thought, every experience throughout time. According to the belief system surrounding the Akashic records, it exists on a higher plane of existence, transcending space and time. It's thought to be accessible through deep states of meditation, trance, or we can go and visit an Akashic reader or a psychic. The Akashic records are a tradition that we can trace back to Hindu and Buddhist traditions. It's understood also to be a sort of record, or like a holding space for the collective consciousness. Now, interpreting the Akashic records is subjective, because it will depend on our abilities, our beliefs, and the experiences that we've had, how we interpret the information that we receive. So, two people can access the Akashic record and have very different understandings of what they read there. I also want to mention that the Akashic records are in your body. They're in every single cell. So it's not necessarily that you need to, leave your body to go get them. There is this element of the transcendence, this masculine idea of up, up, up. But we can also use the feminine path and go in and down to connect to the Akash. Now, somatic healing is also important in energy work. Soma means the body in Greek, and it refers to the understanding that our physical body holds and expresses our emotions, memories, and traumas. So this is really important for a lot of people to understand, that the body is matter that is moving so quickly that it seems solid. So I love doing techniques from somatic healing, like body scanning, somatic experiencing, or trauma releasing. So body scanning means that we, focus on different parts of the body, and we can even say, for example, like connect with your liver, and you can channel your liver, and your liver can say to you, I'm not feeling so great. I need I need some help. Somatic experiencing was developed by Peter Levine. And it focuses on renegotiating and healing trauma by guiding us to engage with the physical sensations. A lot of us live outside of our bodies. Our awareness is lodged either in the head or maybe just outside of the body. And so we want to bring our awareness back in. We can also work with trauma release exercises, physical movements, shaking, tremoring, to release stress and trauma from the physical body, to discharge accumulated energy and promote relaxation. So it's really important to work with the body and not ignore the body and only focus on the energy, because of course the body is the most powerful energy that we have. Now let's talk a little bit about modern medicine and energy healing. Modern medicine is becoming increasingly accepting of energy healing, which is really cool. Really cool. There's some scientific studies made, but of course, when we say modern medicine, we are unfortunately most often referring to the paradigm that we're in now of big pharma. And they can't patent energy healing because you can't own energy as much as they would love to. So this gets in the way for the acceptance of energy healing into modern medicine. In a lot of ways, they don't want studies done on it because there's no money in it, basically, unfortunately. Then, of course, the issue that there are many fake energy healers out there. There's a lot of people who are charlatans. There's a lot of, but bullshit going on in the energy healing field. And this is creating an issue as well. Energy healing is ancient, and some of the practices don't align with the current dominant medical paradigm of, just pop a pill. So despite these challenges, there is more and more interest in complementary and alternative medicine in recent years, and I think this is really cool. But again, we have to remember that most modern medicine doctors have been indoctrinated through their studies, and most universities where people study medicine are sponsored by big pharma, who do not want, who basically can't make money out of energy healing. So that's why the issue is there. But another thing, obviously, to keep in mind is that a lot of people have health insurance, and health insurance often does not cover going to energy healers. So people often don't have a choice. And so energy healing in a lot of ways are still, people have to pay out of their own pocket for, which is unfortunate. Now, let's talk a little bit about becoming an energy worker and things that we need to do in order to function in our highest vibration. So starting off, self-exploration. We have to explore our own beliefs, our own intentions, and our own interest in energy healing. Why are you drawn to this? What do you want to gain from it? Start to understand what energy is, understand your relationship to it, understand how energy works in healing and the potential that it has, not just on your well-being, but on the well-being of others. And you need to continue your education. Seek out those who you want to learn from. I don't think that people who have certifications are necessarily the best at all. I really am an advocate for you feeling the energy of the person who's about to work on you. And I am going to shit on Reiki for a little moment here, because Reiki says it doesn't matter the state of the person giving the Reiki at all, because the Reiki energy will do all of the healing. I find that absolutely obtuse. And I went to a healing festival a couple years ago and walked in, and it was a room full of, middle-aged to older people, and most of them looked so unhealthy. Some of them were really heavy set, black under the eyes, like big bags under the eyes. A lot of people spoke in that kind of like whiny voices. It just felt like none of these people have strong energy in themselves. And then they wanted to do this group thing where we all sat down and like channeled energy together. And I had this feeling that I would put in 100 and I would come out with 20, because I'm not saying that you can't heal others if you are not healed yourself, because healed seems to be a bit sort of final destination, and I don't know if we can ever really be fully healed while the world is the way it is. But I don't personally, and you can disagree with me and we don't have to agree, and that's fine, but personally I feel that your work as an energy worker, a big part of the work is to keep working on your own energy and keep increasing your vibration and your frequency. So this is where having a personal practice comes in. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's self-healing, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's, drinking your hot lemon water in the morning, maybe it's going for a walk, maybe it's hugging a tree. This has to be the foundation. And this is another way or a reason why we need to charge. We need to charge because you have to maintain yourself in a high vibration. And so you need X amount of hours per day to do that work, so that when you are in the room with your client, you are able to hold space for them without getting your shit in the way. Excuse me, but I'm being quite outspoken today. So tools. And again, Everybody's different. Some people like crystals. Some people do sound healing, in which case you're going to need to have your instruments. Some people work with sage, with feathers, whatever you need, get your tools. Also think about tools in the sense of the space where you're doing your work. What does it need to be that kind of space where you set it up? And so I like working with music. I like working with music for several different reasons, but one of them being simply that music helps me orient myself in time. So I know how long I've been doing what I'm doing because I know how long the music has been playing. But also I feel that music is a nice vibration to work with. I really like music, and music also creates a little bubble of space or sound space around us, so that, for example, if there's cars driving past on the road, we don't get intruded by all those different vibrations, but we're kind of holding our own vibration in the room. So, an example. Another key part to being a good energy worker is to maintain your ethics. Get clear on what is important for you, to maintain integrity, to respect others, to have confidentiality with your clients, and to be accountable for yourself and for the people that you work with. And here, boundaries. Oh my gosh. Boundaries. You don't want to take on the shit that you're releasing from people. You don't want to get overly attached to people. You don't want to need them to be a certain way or need them to get healed. People will work at their own timeline, right? Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Boundaries. I can't say it enough. I'm going to say it 2 more times just so that we're really clear. Boundaries. Boundaries. If you don't have boundaries as an energy worker, and boundaries also include, again, charging for your work. There has to be an energetic exchange, otherwise you will get drained. Boundaries are foundational to you being able to survive and do your work well. Many ways to do this. We'll go deeper into this in other parts of the spiral. And the last thing is self-care. You have to prioritize self-care. Whatever you need to do to ground, to cleanse, to protect your energy. Otherwise, you will not be able to do this for a long time. And hopefully, you will be doing this for a long time. This is the end of the first part of this. There's Shamanism 115B as well, where we're going to look deeper into what we can learn from our predecessors for energy work. I hope that you will join me there as well. Thank you for your time and your attention.